Hi, and welcome to Week 14 of the I-Formation. I'm Jeff Gibbons.
And I'm John Moist.
And we're back. Sorry about last week, folks. A little bump in the road. Glad to say that we're back. We still went through our picks. We combined 24-8 last week.
Awesome.
And the guy here himself in the top 500 now in the world in the CBS Sports Pick'em, which is having a good season, man. So don't break things up now. We're this close. Maybe 7 picks out now or something. We got to keep that arrogance level going, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anyway, I think we differ on maybe 3 this week, so stick around, folks. We're going to tell you all about it.
All right, now we're going to make our picks for week number 14, starting with a football game in about 3 hours from now between Minnesota and Arizona.
Minnesota, Arizona, that almost like cool. Minnie was humbled at home last week.
Minnie's beat up on defense, losing their 3 best defensive players this week.
That's what I'm thinking. They're going to limp into the desert, licking their wounds, and that's what's going to keep the difference from them defending that Arizona offense, Carson Palmer and company.
An Arizona offense that has put up an average of 419 yards per game this year, and Carson Palmer is now 1 touchdown pass away from tying a franchise record held by Kurt Warner. He'll have his 30th tonight and probably his 31st too.
And I bet you less than 10% were thrown out to the flat like Warner was doing.
Probably.
Yeah, arena football. That's fine. Although Warner still got the jam. I saw him doing something not too long ago. We're both picking this big. I'm saying 14 points. 2 scores. 2 major scores.
And I'm thinking also Johnson on the ground, not Chris Johnson, the other Johnson. David.
Well, he's on the ground. He just can't get up off of it.
Is going to have a big game tonight.
Awesome. Okay.
Big game. Arizona, big score. Arizona, big.
Both there, man. Next, we got Detroit going into St. Louis. Play the Rams. And Case Keenum announced to be the starter for St. Louis, which was enough for me. I kind of like Detroit's chances with Matt Stafford versus Case Keenum. I'm saying a touchdown here.
Yeah, I'd say much more than that. But I was actually thinking about going with St. Louis on this one until I found out that it was Keenum versus Stafford, and I don't see it. So
that was the end of it. He wasn't feeling it, folks.
Yeah. No.
Good. Next, we got Pittsburgh going into Cincinnati. A great little battle here.
Game of the week.
Yeah, and you know what? Cincinnati, the top seed in the AFC right now, and they got a chance to lock up the division with a win over Pittsburgh. They're going to have to focus on the one thing that's got Pittsburgh as far as they have this year, and that's the passing game of Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Big Ben has played well. You know, Antonio Brown's come to mind. He's had a couple of stellar games this year. But I think Cincinnati is going to show how good this team really is in the AFC, and they deserve where they are right now. I'm saying a touchdown, but it's going to be a hell of a game to watch.
I think it's going to be a great game to watch. Touchdown sounds about right, maybe a little less, and I think that Cincinnati just has a better defense here. Pittsburgh probably all around a better offense. D'Angelo Williams on the ground has had some big games this year as well, but Cincinnati, their defense is just better than Pittsburgh's, and they should win this in a close one. Yeah.
All right. Next, New Orleans at Tampa Bay. So now at 6-6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the middle of things. They're in the playoff mix, and they've had some help in the quarterback position this year.
For sure.
Right. Yeah. I think that they're a team on the surge. I don't see them making a lot of noise in the playoffs, but they're certainly sticking around. I think they're going to come up with a strong game at home here, and they just beat New Orleans. New Orleans had a good run last week against the undefeated Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And but I think they may have spent their penny, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, Tampa Bay is a much better defensive team than New Orleans. New Orleans, I'm not sure if they're last overall. Maybe I think they'd have to be, considering the amount of points they're giving up every week this year. And I just think that Tampa is a top 10 defense. That not sure if they can make it into the playoffs, like you say, but certainly can win this.
They're around.
New Orleans.
They're around. Mathematically, with things going on.
Oh yeah, they can. I'm just saying, not sure if they will.
Yeah.
I should say.
And if they do get there, I don't know if they're going to go very deep. But it's those kinds of teams that give you a start sometimes close to playoff time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think
Doug Martin to have a big game here again.
Hey, Martin! Haven't said that one in a long while.
His favorite Martin.
That's right, my favorite Martin. I'm saying 10 plus for Tampa Bay at home.
I agree.
All right. Next, Indianapolis in Jacksonville. Indianapolis is expecting to start Matt Hasselbeck, despite the fact that he has like neck and rib injuries.
Yeah.
He's not 100%. I guess Plan B. It's better than Plan B at Charlie Whitehurst. He did come in the fourth quarter in that game last week in Pittsburgh, losing cause. But I think he went 4 for 8. But not any big
Jacksonville put
indicator.
up some big points last week, but their defense gave up a lot too in that game against Tennessee.
Yep.
I still say Jacksonville wins this game.
Me too. I think it's close. And plus, that's consecutive road games for Indianapolis again this week.
Yeah.
So, that's always a tough one. I think Bortles has a big game at home and pulls enough out to win this.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we got San Diego going into Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs are on a roll. 6 straight, and as you said today, a very, very quiet contender right now in the AFC. And San Diego just, I don't know, what can we say? They suck.
Well, San Diego as well has had more injury trouble than just about any team in the game, maybe better than the Patriots, but they certainly do suck.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
was
if they
going to
didn't
bring you
have
back
all
around to
those
that
injuries,
clinical
they'd still
diagnosis. All right.
But KC is doing it on defense, and great
Incredible.
defense. They
Incredible.
have a great pass rush. They have a good secondary, and they're going to be trouble if they get into the playoffs. They could actually, you never know, pull a big upset here.
I mean, San Diego is, like I said, they're going to limp into Arrowhead because it's tough playing in Arrowhead to begin with, and when you're not turning the ball over and you're not making mistakes and you have a defense like the Kansas City Chiefs, this can only end poorly.
Yeah.
14 plus.
I agree.
Yes, like Kennedy and Dallas. It's all over. Next, Washington in Soldier Field to play the Bears. Neither one of these teams really played well last week.
No.
Right? They didn't play well enough to win. I'm saying I'm giving advantage Chicago here merely because they're at home. I'm picking them, the good team, to show up this week, the Jekyll team. I think that, Cutler has a decent game. He plays well enough to win. I'm saying a score.
I'm thinking also that Jay Cutler's the difference here, and I think he's going to have a big game, and the score sounds good, so we're in agreement there. Yeah.
Jesus, what happened?
Yeah.
Where's the Siskel and Ebert thing? Like it's
I have no idea.
balcony's a little closed though. Well,
Here it comes.
all right, San Francisco going into the dog pound to play the Cleveland Browns.
We differ on this.
Yeah, we do, and I can't help but think. Well, San Francisco's playing consecutive road games again, and this is something that I keep thinking about. It wears you down. I'm taking that away. I think this is going to be a close game. Johnny Manziel, the other Johnny Football, or the lesser Johnny Football, starting this game. He's got something to prove. I think he really needs to make a statement to the organization after all these foibles this year. I think that he plays well enough to win this game late by a field goal. This is going to be a great game to watch.
I like it to be a close game as well, but I'm really liking what Blaine Garbitter's doing over here with the San Francisco 49ers. I never thought that I'd ever say that.
I was just going to say, imagine at the beginning of this season saying, I kind of like what Blaine Gabbert is doing in San Francisco.
I mean, last week he threw for 200. He rushed for 75 yards and a touchdown. The week before that, he threw for over 300 against Arizona. Gabbert is getting the job done here. And they beat the Bears last week in a very close game. And I think that in another close one, I'm going to pick San Francisco by a field goal over Cleveland in this one, based on Gabbert and a good show from the defense.
I can smell the arrogance.
That's it.
Next, you should bottle that man so like you're going home.
When
New
you
Calvin
get
Klein
125 correct picks,
arrogance.
you can have it.
That's right. You left a letter out of pick. Next, we got Tennessee playing the New York Jets. And the Jets beat the Giants last week, which was, again, another field goal game, right? Field goal last week? It was close. Yeah, it was. It was a field goal. Yeah. Any games that we differ on usually are a field goal or less. I think that they're going to be able to, at home, shut down Marcus Mariota, and they're going to win this by 10 points better.
Yeah, I like the Jets to win this one. By 10 points or better, sure, why not?
You want to pat me on the head or something?
The Jets are going to have a huge defensive showing here against Tennessee. I don't see many points coming out of the Titans.
Your defense is showing. All right. Atlanta at Carolina to play the undefeated Carolina Panthers.
Atlanta at Carolina.
Cam Newton at home versus Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan's been going downhill lately.
Yeah, like a mining cart. I'm thinking that if you look at this on paper, this is terrible. This don't end well at all. But you really got to be careful about underestimating your opponent at any time during the season, especially when you're 12-0, 13-0, 12-0.
A divisional game as well.
Yeah, you can never underestimate here. I think Cam Newton comes out and he is the performer that we think that he is. He plays professional. He stays with this game, and I think they managed to pull this away. I think this is 2 touchdowns, man.
I think it's a little less than that, but I'm going to look for a big game from Jonathan Stewart, even though he's hurting. I still say he comes in and gets 2 or 3 touchdowns. Big game for Stewart.
You like Stewart, eh? You've said that a couple of times.
Yeah.
I hope you're right. I'm sure we'll get to see glimpses of Superman.
Because I got him on my fantasy team, of course.
Okay. Next, Seattle at Baltimore. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are getting better and better each week, like a fine Italian red wine.
Oh,
I'm sorry, man.
this is supposed to be you and the red wine.
You wouldn't believe it if I told you. I'm telling you, they are peaking, and it was
Fine dark room. Not fine.
Listen.
Dirty dark room.
You said to me this week, it was interesting, you want to roll the tape, and we may go back and look at the archives. Earlier this year, I compared the Seattle Seahawks, even when they were stammering, to the 2008 Giants. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. And that was a team that sort of got good towards the end of the season, got into the playoffs, took the wild card position. They had to beat teams like Dallas, Green Bay, and they eventually beat the Patriots in one of the best Super Bowls I ever watched. The long way home, so to speak, and I see Seattle getting better and better. Russell Wilson is playing the football of his career, and he's already got a ring, so that's a pretty big statement, right? He's been to 2 Super Bowls. I see him getting better and better. He's getting the ball out. He's seeing defenses. He's able to run the ball, and I think the Legion of Boom is back. I think that defense is just getting sicker and sicker every week. Graham accused me of being a bandwagon fan today online, which I thought was pretty funny. You see that?
I know, I echoed it. I saw it.
Yeah.
You didn't see my reply there, did you?
Listen, man,
Okay.
I'm still a Dolphins fan, but I know, you got to be able to know when a team is good and when a team is not so good. And this team is good. And I'm calling it this week, just like CBC here in Canada calls elections. I'm calling the Seattle Seahawks to win it all. Even when everyone thought that wasn't going to happen, the 7-5 Seahawks now are one of the best teams in the NFC, and will prove that yet again this week.
If the Seahawks win the Super Bowl, I'll wear a Patriots cap on the I formation.
I would never let you wear a Patriots cap on the I formation.
Yeah,
I would never let that happen.
They're
But
the
that
third
doesn't
best team in the NFC, next to Carolina and Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to lose out in the second round of the playoffs.
Okay, Nostradamus. We'll see what happens. I'm telling you, they peak at the right time. They hit that 5th playoff spot, and they end up playing the who gives a you-know-what bowl over there in the north, play that team, and they move and vault into the second round, where they probably meet the Panthers, and they upset the Panthers and ruin their rails on the season. I'm sorry, no disrespect to Don Shula, but that's the end of that run. So that's what I'm calling. And with respect to Baltimore, they're going to handle the mediocrity that is the Baltimore Ravens this year.
Baltimore's not been playing well at all.
Right. I realize that they've lost Forsett for the year, they've lost Flacco, but at the end of the day, they weren't winning games with those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost several third and fourth quarter leads, or blew them.
Should never let Lodi Nutta go either in the offseason. Big part of their defense there.
Yes. By a nose.
By a nose, yeah.
All right. For those who weren't paying attention, nose tackle. Just wanted to point that out, Paul. All right. 10 plus for Seattle Seahawks.
I agree.
Welcome back, by the way, Paul. I understand you're out to see the Super Bowl. Or
Grey Cup.
The Grey Cup.
Did you watch that? Next.
Buffalo at Philadelphia.
We differ on this one.
That's okay. Philly's special teams have shown brilliance. I've been talking about their special teams for the last couple of years.
You have.
And it's the best part of that team. Chip Kelly coming to town and everything, and this offense supposed to be what it was, never ever materialized. I was even looking at the Foles trade, wondered what was going to happen there. But it's their best part. And against the Patriots, they were really good on special teams. Returns, block punts. They did everything right and gave them a chance to win, and they did win that game. It's always a good game when you got two teams that are playing for something. But Philadelphia right now, with the Giants losing 3 in a row, have more to play for. I mean, that whole division over there.
Well, Buffalo is in the run for a wild card there.
Yeah, it's close, but I don't think. I think they're smelling more blood in Philadelphia than they are in Buffalo. Okay. I'm not convinced Buffalo is going to hang on. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's some other teams lurking in the weeds. I think that Philadelphia is just hungrier, and I think at 5-7 they got a shot legitimately of winning that division. And I called them to win that division, I believe, earlier this year anyway.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it going down quite like this.
No.
I think they play with heart at home, and they play with urgency, and they win by a touchdown.
I'm definitely going with Buffalo in this one. Yes, Philadelphia came out and beat the Patriots last week. You had 3 special teams touchdowns, which was great. And at the end of the game, Chip Kelly looked really pretty on the sidelines. He was doing his hair or whatever. Anyway, now he goes up against a Buffalo defense that's just getting Mario Williams back this week, and he's going to give them all they can handle. And don't forget Preston Brown, a middle linebacker, is going to have a big game in this one. And I like Buffalo to win this game in Philadelphia by 2 touchdowns.
I'm sorry, by 2 touchdowns?
2 touchdowns.
1 for each nostril.
That's right.
Okay. So, anyway, you hear it here, folks.
No
The arrogance stops here this week. Next, we got Oakland and Denver. Lucky they're in Mile High anyway, because if they were in Oakland, they'd be still up there with their paper cups trying to catch water. And apparently it's a pretty hard spot to play. Bubblegum, held together with bubblegum and floss. It's always a good game, though, Oakland and Denver, that division that rivalry. I think Oakland keeps this interesting, but at the end of the day, they're just not going to be able to last 60 minutes with that defense that is the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's their bread and butter, man. It's gotten them there this year. I just think they outdo it. And I think Brock Osweiler goes 4-0 as a starter. I think the running game's a little better in Denver these days, too. I'm finding that, they're starting to
Hillman's hurt, but I think he is playing. I'm pretty sure he is playing.
Mm-hmm. I'm saying 10 points here.
I'm not even sure it's going to be that. Oakland always plays them tough, especially late in the season.
Yeah. I'm just thinking late in the game is when that happens. Desperation.
I'm big Denver by 6 again.
Okay, man. Next, we got Dallas at Green Bay. And this was actually an AFC playoff game last year, if you remember. And both of those teams were playing much better at that time. Mm-hmm. The difference now is that Rodgers is at home and Dallas doesn't have Tony Romo. So by that alone, I give Green Bay a touchdown.
Rodgers and Lambeau, like you say. Rodgers, Lambeau Field doesn't lose very often.
No.
Dallas is a hungry team. I think they might keep this close. What'd you say, a touchdown? Sounds about right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Next, we have New England at Houston. And you know what? Last week, this loss for the Patriots now marked the first time in 56 regular season games that the Patriots have lost back-to-back regular season games. That's sick. Absolutely sick. I'm not even going to weigh in on the coin tosses. Every defense, and we talked about this, every defense in the league has been licking their chops over the last 3 or 4 weeks because of that suspect New England Patriots O-line. Brady is getting hit more, hurried, more than I think he's been in his entire career. And I think that, last year it was a sick number of sacks. 21 or 22 he had all of last year, I think, and maybe it was as much as 25. But I do know that right now in week 4, or after week 13, they have more sacks on Tom Brady than they did all last year. And he's not used to getting knocked around like that. Or maybe he's going to reevaluate playing into his 40s. Not quite sure if that's going to happen or not. It's going to take a lot of absorbing junior. But I think he's going to be hurried, bothered, and hit all day long with this Houston pass rush defense.
They're ranked.
Yeah, I think it's going to be sick. The Achilles heel for the Houston Texans is going to be their lack of offensive output. And I think that they're just not going to be able to score enough points, even off turnovers, to beat the New England Patriots. I think this is a field goal. And I think that this is a low-scoring game. And at the end of the day, they're just not going to be able to get the job done. It'll be similar to that Miami-Baltimore game last week where nobody wanted to score points. It was all defense and special teams, so to speak. It's going to be like that. If Houston can capitalize off of turnovers like pick six, that kind of stuff, I will gladly lose this pick and smile to watch the Patriots lose 3 in a row because they are not all that in the bag of chips. But I think that the Patriots outscore by 3 points.
Okay, I like New England as well, and I totally agree with your analysis. Away we go.
Was that because you were arrogant? I'm just asking.
Oh, well,
Do you really believe
like
me?
I said, with 125 correct picks, I can be arrogant.
All right.
And I will
He's
continue to be arrogant.
Certainly living up to your reputation. Let's see how you do this week. Next, we've got the Giants and the Monday Nighter going into Miami. And I know we disagree on this. And let me just think about this. The Giants have lost 3 straight. And they've left a hot mess atop that division now. Like I said, anybody's game. You could have the Redskins there. You could have the Cowboys.
Any team in that division, yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Yeah. Philadelphia, well, you had it.
It's going to be. It's just a fight to see who can get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
Well,
when they face
they face Seattle in the first round. Yeah. We see all this coming, folks. Let me tell you. It's a greater good because I already promised him I'm going to kick his ass in the playoffs, so I'm calling my team right now, and it's the Seahawks to win it all.
Second round.
Yeah. We'll see what the 125 picks does for him then. I remember last time you went against me on the Seahawks. You remember that?
Okay, I'm going to predict that I go perfect in the playoffs.
Yeah, perfectly wrong.
We'll see.
We'll see how this goes. Anyway, at the end of the day, the Giants have to win this game or they're done.
Yes.
They're in a tailspin. But I think Miami is at home with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they come up with a big defensive outing against a team that plays desperate in Miami. And I think Miami gets the run going, which is something they haven't been able to do, and they're successful when they do get it going, and they win this by a field goal at home at the Horn.
Okay.
23-20 Miami.
I'm going to call in a late fourth quarter game-winning drive as well for the Giants. Eli Manning passes to, let me see, Beckham.
Well, that's original. Did I mention that field goal is going to go off the inside of the upright and fall over the line? To add to the drama, 23-20.
Did I mention that Beckham's going to drag his right foot at the back of the end zone, and it's going to be reviewed several times before they finally realize that he's in and the game is over. 4 points, Giants.
I hope they bend it like Beckham. That's the picks for this week, folks. Stick around. We're going to tell you who we think our player and team of the week will be.
Welcome back to the I Formation, and now we are going to make our picks for player of the week and team of the week, starting with Mr. Gibbons here.
Oh, you're going to make me go first.
Yes.
Well, seeing as I'm picking the Miami Dolphins to beat the Giants in the Monday Nighter, I'm going to pick the Miami Dolphins defense as my player of the week, and I'm going to pick them as my team of the week.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills in Philadelphia because I'm arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll pick LaShawn McCoy to corpse up his former team. How's that?
Well, I don't know. That remains to be seen. There was Roddy Gant who played baseball, and now there's Arrow Gant sitting next to me on the table, on the chair. Yeah, I'm not even going to comment about what other things you're reminding me of now. That's the picks this week, folks. Thanks for coming back. We really enjoy doing this show for you. Getting later and later into the season, things mean something. Every game means something to somebody. So I want to remind you all to enjoy the games this week. Certainly we're going to film now. We probably won't be up before the Thursday night game. It'll be pretty close. I know our Cracker Jack manager will try to have that all straightened away for us. But at the end of the day, folks, remember to respect the game. Don't drink and drive. It's so important, especially at this holiday season. So that's it for me, man. You got anything else you want to say?
I just want to say hello to Rick and Jeremy Travers, who are going to watch us this week. They told me they would. You're both ugly, but thanks for watching. That's it.
That hat must be pretty tight on your head, isn't it?
This is a great hat.
It's gray?
No, it's a great hat.
Oh, a great hat.
It is. It jingles and everything, see? It's awesome.
Careful now. Don't let that frontal lobe hit the front of your cranium again. Like, remember last time? Anyway, folks, that's it for this week. Thanks again for
Get
watching.
serious, will you?
Why so serious? That's satellite radio. Thanks for showing up and thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you again next week. Until then, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him. Have fun.